the report and requested that if it is possible, they should make the necessary addendums to reflect what really happened during the election.
We have highlights of that report that describes violence that led to
death. Of the court, we have full confidence in the procedure. Voters participated freely in polling stations observed.
Also tonight, Ghana loses 6 illegal meters in homes.
Distribution losses, I should say, estimated at 1.3 million Ghana citizens.
Of ECG have issued a 1-week ultimatum for the removal of the managing director of ECG, or as they.
And in business, Bank of Ghana direct banks and special deposit-taking institutions to desist from dividend payment.
Road Safety Authority to regulate activities of commercial motorcycle operators, or Okada, as they prepare to roll out automation scheme that will replace police officers.
And excuse my word, a primitive way of enforcing road traffic regulations to a modern one.
Bayern Munich, Barcelona. Okay, you want to stay with us for that? The boys will join us later on with commentary.
And did you say Barcelona? Sub 05511111997. And tonight we start with politics, because the National Democratic
Union Election Observer Mission in its final report maintains that the 2020 election was not only free and fair, but accepts the legitimacy.
Johnson Asiedun Ketia's description of the entire process and verdict as a mistrial. Javier Nat is the EU Chief Election Observer.
Courts in Ghana, so the decision of the court, we accept it because we think it's reliable. I don't think that there is something capital here in Ghana. Even let me say, I am from Spain, that Parliament is divided equally in two, and the Parliament is working. And so the institutions are respected, and when the institutions are respected, the country is a solid country, a stable country.
Report today, and my colleague Kwekwa Sante was at that program today. He joins us in studio. He's also been looking at the court. What exactly did the EU report say about that?
Well, so that particular aspect of the the boss of the observer mission, and he told me that this particular incident that happened around the country.
Of course, there were 5 people that were killed, and it is not good news at all. But when you see something that is vigilantes. Vigilantism didn't appear at the elections. Could be, and it happened, this and that. But when you see a general, that's why we stressed that the elections were reliable, were credible, and proceed in a peaceful way, apart of those 5 disgraces and some cases of violence. But very minor tragedies indeed.
But since 1992 that Ghana have been having these successive elections, this is the first time that this number of people are be behind the situation.
This is absolutely important to establish what happened, but at the same time, to establish. But have you seen any party recognizing that they have their own vigilantes? So they come from Mars. You have to address it.
Things that they also put forward is their verdict on the elections itself, and they conclude that it was free and fair.
They start by saying that the Electoral Commission was well prepared and was transparent in the lead up to the election procedure. Let me read this part in the render. Compiled and updated the voter register. All 7 members of the EC, including the chairperson and deputies, are appointed by the president for an indefinite period. So they say that the EOM observers assess the access to monitor the production, distribution, and storage of sensitive materials, including ballots. They also go ahead to say that the voter registration was inclusive, despite controversy over.
Voters participated freely in large numbers, and the overall conduct of voting was at polling stations. However, shortcomings already identified by previous European Union election observation missions remain. This is an unregulated campaign finances. The report contains 18 recommendations proposed in the report. The European Union Election Observation Mission has identified 8 as priorities. First, of irregularities during the counting and coalition process, including overvoting, mismatched reconciliation, incomplete and wrongly filled in regions, as well as detailed results from all levels of coalition.
So that last point there is one of those very related results at the constituency level and the regional and national levels, but should also publish details about results at the
deadline for the ruling on parliamentary election petitions in the High Court and Court of Appeal, which will increase stakeholder access to an effective remedy and increase public confidence. Already, the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, what exactly is the crux of their rejection?
Right, so for now, they met the EU Observer Mission this afternoon. I don't know if in election. They say that if this thing happened anywhere where these observers came from, there would have been a lot of issues to answer. So for this to not find expression in this report, it tells you that the job...
And we didn't mince words at all. We think that the report was hold the report and requested that if it is possible, they should make the necessary addendums to reflect how 8 innocent citizens lost their lives during the election. How can the EU report on 2020 election be seen on social media, on TV, with videos in such a report? We think that the report is very, very defective. Now, there are so many other issues, especially level of impunity that was displayed. If you look at what happened in the court, and perhaps they were looking for diplomatic words to appease some, community. But that is very unfortunate because that matter, in reporting them, we do not sweep them under the carpet. We have made our disquiet available to or with them in an official manner. We believe that even the idea to publish the unfortunate. I recall that we had an engagement with the EU where we outlined all the happening. So it is most unfortunate that we are having reports that is saying that the process was free and fair. I think that the international observers which we saw and to appear before the election is conducted in any country and one person dies, the entire country will be in turmoil. So it is Africa. It is Ghana.
Speak to the national organizer of the governing party, the MPP. Sami Uku joins us on the telephone line right now. Mr. Uku, thank you for your time here on Newsnight. Has the MPP...
at some point in time, I think some part of our leadership met with some international bodies as well. I have read parts, and again, I've also had the benefit of listening to Otukono says that the European Union met them earlier to also take their concerns, and then they also did lay their concerns before of their report. But they met you before they even had this final report drafted. Again, Otukono also recounts the fact that it shouldn't have happened in the first place. But they do also say, and that has been the position of the NPP, the incident of what happened in Techim and South and other places are issues that I know that they are still under investigation. But up north, you are the electoral officials who are tearing the ballot papers and deliberately tearing the face of the presidential candidate of the gamut of issues that they would have raised before the highest court of the land. Be as it may, we are confident that the NPP did a good job. We believe that the elections in 2020 was free, fair, transparent, and we won convincingly.
Yeah, let me ask you this. I mean, another part of the report says catalogs accusations that your government abused.
I haven't read the full report. I said I've read part, but I will be also grateful if you can also support that line with some evidence or some vague.
All forms of it.
When you say abuse of incumbents, let me give you a typical example. On the day of election, the presidential candidate, Ikeo, he stole a protected state asset. So if you are even talking about the vehicles that will follow him as part of security detail and protocol,
the EU report specifies misuse of state resources.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. Even if his own motorcycle or use his own saloon car, because that day, because he's on the ballot, he should not be treated as a president. To even limit the number of vehicles and the use of even state properties during our will not do anything to the discomfort of the state purse and that of the citizenry. So, of incumbency, and not on the issue of lack of transparency and lack of fairness. Then I think briefly also conclude, and which is a position the NPP shares, that the NPP won the elections convincingly because once it was
finally on this, the EU says, and in recommendation, that the Electoral Commission must be enhancing regulations that exist. You support that?
Well, these are matters that they will have to also discuss extensively.
You support that?
Well, about financing of political parties.
As in empowering the EC to sanction political parties.
Right. What amounts to political financing, and what is the limit? In our part of the world, it's still a fledgling democracy. And sometimes when people also compare it to a democracy.
You join us. That is the national organizer of the MPP, Sami.
Talking about power situation on Top Story. It is emerging tonight that Ghana is losing up to 1.3 million cedis annually in a massive illegal distribution. Companies and political actors are conniving with residential power consumers to fix illegal meters in homes. Kojo Yaochi.
Of the power distributors, which includes subcontractors, service providers, staff who distribute meters among others. Again, politicians were also discovered in the mix, where they get the shared meters from the Ministry of Energy, who procures these meters of the power distributor. The result is that people get distributed, they consume the power, but because the power distributed for billing purposes, so they consume the power and they don't pay for it. Now, the evidence that we've seen, the iceberg, we suspect that there are more in the system which will require very active
conventional energy at ASEP there on the situation at the Electricity Company of Ghana. It appears all is not well there already.
Well, there's a resolution that the workers know. And we'll try and summarize all. So the first, according to them, is Mr. Ajimambedu's lack of vision. Core materials such as meters, service cables, conductors, prepaid vending accessories, maintenance materials, which has caused delays in connecting and supplying customers who have paid for also collection of revenue from SLT customers to third parties at high commission.
Amongst others, what exactly are the concerns there?
Well, their claim is that the MD lacks appreciation of his duties and rose and is, quote, grossly deficient managers and without due regard to their supervisors. Now, they raise issues about alarming rate at which the company's technical and commercial losses, and this is a calculation that they are putting forward, puts the current system loss figure at over 34% as of February 2021 and 23% and 24%, which the claim has now shot up to 34%.
And this resolution has been made available to the board. What exactly have they been telling the women?
And that we know that they are in a crunch meeting with the MD, Kwame Ajimambedu, to find a way forward. Meanwhile, an invitation will be extended to the NEC. We'll know later the decisions that we'll be taking on this particular matter. But to be very specific, they've given a deadline.
Okay.
For their grievances to be granted, or as they say, and playing with this matter. They insist that if by the close for is for the managing director to be removed immediately.
The workers of ECG, and it's coming at a time that ASEP has also released a research saying that we are losing 1.3 million Ghana cedis up in.
And I must indicate there's also some 70 million that they brought up as one of the bases for their action during over his tenure. They say altogether the backlog of outstanding staff deductions to the life insurance schemes, etc., is estimated at over 70 million cedis as of March 2021.
Business. When we return, Road Safety Authority to regulate activities of commercial motorcycle operators or Okada as they prepare to
police to roll on from that manual and excuse my word, primitive way.
Business with George Riafe. Hello, George.
Hi, Emefa. And coming up in business, Bank of Ghana direct commercial banks and special rules out reviewing requirements for no ID, no withdrawals on its mobile money platform, despite business, kingdom books and stationery. Your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials and
been here before. The moment when your heart literally stops beating and you see your entire social life and save now. You no longer have to panic when your phone experiences liquid or accidental damage thanks to MTN Device Insurance.
Just install the MTN Device Insurance app, fill in the details and make payment, and experience the peace of visit mtndeviceinsurance.com or download the MTN Device Insurance app on Google Play or App Store and get your phone insured today with Device Insurance powered by MTN. We day for you everywhere you go.
Really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery, right?
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc. Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101 764.
Allianz Insurance since 1890. Associations and businesses. We cover your employees, your funerals, pensions, children's education, and your future. Call us on 0302 267 892 or visit your future.
You're welcome back to Business on Payment to shareholders for their operations last year. According to the Bank of Ghana, unless these institutions are able to meet some...
Coming after the Bank of Ghana last year announced that banks and special deposit institutions must free. The regulator in the public notice, however, adds that the payment can now be made if these institutions are able to meet the new conditions. Any dividend payments to shareholders covering the 2020-2021 financial year. The regulator also their audited accounts for review before they can think about taking such actions. They must have the right of capital buffers after the dividend payments. The Bank of Ghana concludes by assuring the public of its continued commitment.
That is a business tax report. Now, MTN says it has no intention of reviewing requirements for its no ID, no withdrawal on its mobility requirements, but engaging the media post-implementation of the directive general manager in charge of financial services.
Such tough decisions. But we also believe that in the long run, it's in the best interest of both the customer fully and well implemented. And let me also indicate that the second area it goes into implementation tonight and further supports the implementation.
Elihini is a general manager in charge of financial services at MTN country. It follows report that the country is losing over 1 billion Ghana cedis due to smuggling of the product. But the Commissioner General, Reverend Amishadai, was...
And these are issues that we have discussed at very high levels. And therefore, we are going to implement this initiative, ensure that every OMC that is involved in the buying of any outstandings, whatever we need to do, including with garnish insurance companies. Insurance company that has issued bonds that side also. We are working with all the intelligence and then the security agencies. And I know that there's a lot of discussions going on at very high levels, but to ensure.
Now, the executive chairman of real estate firm Comet Properties, and Ordinary Chairman, is pushing for a housing levy to meet the population needs, with data suggesting of 2 million housing deficit. Government has already established a mortgage financing to ensure that the dedicated source of funding for the housing fund and demand needs of Ghanaians.
Not a funding for people's ability to have mortgage, 25, 30 years mortgage. For how long can you sustain it? There should be a special revenue generated. And it's going to cost us not less than about $30,000 to produce one house. So 200,000, we need 6 billion.
So then are you advocating for a special housing levy to provide them?
Private sector will feed those funds with whatever money. They don't have it, and even if they have it, they will never give it to Ghana. Let the
man of real estate firm Comet Properties, the now chairman thing. Now, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture says 90,000 smallholder farmers are receiving held in Accra. Kluche Kumobo is national coordinator for the program.
The goal and objectives of gas resilience to climate change. GASIP became effective in 2015. GASIP also invested in strategic transformation among smallholder farmers in this country. In this regard, IFAD, MOFA, and other partners have developed a christened Prosper.
Luchi Kudomo is the National Program Coordinator for the Ghana Agriculture Sector.
And tonight, the Road Safety Authority is set to embark on a significant policy shift that will see the regulation of the activities of commercial motorcycle operators.
PM Express last night after the broadcast of our latest hotline documentary crashed. The immediate intervention is required to fix the problem.
There is also a very strong. We have issued a directive that all commercial transport service providers must take their drivers through defensive driving, and it is mandatory in the coming months. How we ourselves, the police and other stakeholders, together with Parliament, would have so many of the crashes coming from the motorcycles. And indeed, if you look at the statistics as we're talking about, currently there's 76 or about 48% of them come from the motorcycle, and they try to take control of the use of motorcycles, whether privately or commercially. It is something that we must do.
And Emefa, guess what? The Road Safety Authority also announced that in the next few months, these police officers, MTT officers that you see in white on our street with machines. Also on the show was simple work.
Everywhere is supporting police operation MTT officers in their white, walking about, raising their hand, stopping vehicle, checking whether you have done your roadworthiness. Things of vehicles that are added to the existing stock we have elsewhere, they deploy. It is able to detect through the vehicle registration number whether you are above the speed limit, you have not done your roadworthy, whether you have run a red light and all that. This is there but absent at the and it's at the back office, and therefore it increases sense of, first of all,
being there.
You say that with a lot of skepticism.
But yesterday during the premiering, there was visible terror. You've been recount commentary last night, and Manuel Kranting has more in the following report.
The man said, "Yahoo, yahoo, yahoo."
Mention his name. There was no response.
Scenes that shocked patrons at the premiere of Crushed.
It's like that every year. I had to think of what I could do to paint the picture for all Ghanaians to appreciate the magnitude of the problem.
For the entire period of the screening, people were visibly terrified.
I saw this lady cringing at some point. Tell me, what was going through your mind?
My husband died through a car accident on his duty call, so I'm a widow. And that ignites that passion in me.
Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council.
We were seeing precious souls perishing with the council to really factor in the road safety campaign, because we are
a united call for enforcement of traffic regulations on our roads.
Kweku Oforie Siama
is Transport Minister.
We cannot have a
Executive Director of the Road Safety Authority, Engineer May Obrieboa, wants law enforcement
game. The people who matter, and indeed those at the helm of affairs, to cease interfering and allow the MTTD to enforce the road traffic regulations.
Alexander Obeng is at the police MTTD.
And that is why I've said police, we are also focusing in automating our enforcement strategy.
It's on YouTube, on the Joy News channel, and also on my Joy Online. Watch that and change your road. Having for criminals. I've revealed that people sometimes come to lure them with money to engage in the various activities on their behalf. But camp, which was supposed to be a safe space for people who fled the war in Liberia, as part of our series highlighting the insecurity situation in Kaswa.
And I'm in the alleyways of a part of the refugee camp where many consider to be the den of criminals. Only young people, Senuna, considered by his peers as the unofficial king of the central region. He says he does not dispute the claim. He came to the camp to hire hitmen to kill a pastor in Swedru.
Criminals in the camp, if it's 100%, and the criminals are in the camp, they will not reach 2%. Even sometimes some people use one man at Swedru with that money, they make a service and loan. They are going to call one policeman, and the policeman dressed like we normal street boys. When later she even said the man is a pastor, he's a man of God. Serious. So as she was going, then they will bring police people, they'll bring police people, make what catch her.
Mubarak Hamidu lives at the refugee camp.
Bad thing go happen for some place, they go talk in camp. Why? See the 3 days today or last 2 weeks.
Kelvin Jackson is an ex-convict. He was jailed for 10 years.
It's true that everywhere have a bad people and good people. It's the same condition we're facing here in Liberia. Things happen on the camp. Does not